Hi, this is David. I am hosting a Google Hangout for Tesla's Q1 2016 earnings report and conference call that just ended about a minute ago. Wanted to share a few initial thoughts, and then we'll go ahead and we'll probably have some more people joining in and asking questions and sharing their thoughts, mostly from the Tesla Motors Club investor forum section. So Tesla released Q1 earnings. It's pretty much becoming, Tesla is becoming a company where the Model S and X are becoming less and less relevant. And the reason being is because the Model 3 is just overtaking everything regarding Tesla, the company. And so, I mean, Tesla's Model S, deliveries were as previously reported, not very good. Q2 guidance was okay at 17,000 vehicles. They kind of, skirted around some other issues, but it seemed like the big issue that they're focusing on is Model 3. And basically the big claims, the big targets they're claiming right now is to have 500,000 cars they're going to build in 2018. So it's a combination of Model 3, maybe about 350, I'm guessing, or 400,000 Model 3, maybe 100, 150,000 Model S and X's. In order to do that, they have to start building a Model 3 early. They want to do volume production in late 2017. Elon was saying, he wants to see 100 to 200,000 vehicles. So that's in order to do that, they have to push up all their production plans, and they're going to have to start production of their initial vehicles. I'm guessing probably in the spring of 2017. They'll have a good, hopefully, I'm hoping at least 3 to 6 months of validation and iterating after their initial production, and then before they launch their volume production. So in order to meet their targets, they're getting their production tooling requests in within 6 to 8 weeks from now. They'll probably get their tooling and etc. End of this year, beginning of next year. Of course, they're going to have to, that's just probably the initial, round, and they're going to have to ramp up and etc. So in order for Tesla to do all this, they say that they're going to probably have to raise money, and this is the big capital raise that I've been anticipating. My hunch is that it's going to come this month, sooner the better, because they need to have a bigger cash cushion in order to support the larger targets and goals. So in order to accelerate their plans right now, they need to hire more people. They need to, have higher orders into their suppliers. They need to ramp up gigafactory plans. They need to ramp up, service centers, and there's just a whole host of different people they need to hire and different expenses they need to spend. So in order to do that, they need a bigger cash cushion than just $1 billion. I think they need at least $2 to $3 billion, along with money to spend for the expansion and the expedited production plans. And so I would expect Tesla to raise some money, probably at least $2 billion, if not more. I think it's likely they're going to have to raise some more money as well. They can either do it now or they could do it in stages. Maybe one round now, maybe one round later. Elon mentioned on the call that production, when they reach volume production, that's when they might raise money for some other factories, etc. Elon also mentioned that Fremont factory and Gigafactory could support probably up to 1 million vehicles. But then he countered that, or he balanced that by saying that other continents, Asia and Europe specifically, probably are going to need their own localized production. And so we're looking at, next few years, Model 3 will be sufficiently provided for in the US, North America, by Fremont and Gigafactory. But now we have question marks for Asia and Europe, especially when we get into higher volumes of Model 3 production. Where is that going to come from? And Elon is saying basically shipping it doesn't make sense for that number of vehicles. And so we're looking at probably Asia and Europe factories, and it's hinted at maybe, they'll raise money maybe end of next year or something. So they'll probably, start site selection and try to get lots of incentives, etc., and start, production. If they can do a site selection and finalize terms by end of 2017, maybe they could, start production early 2019 if they push it. They could order all their tooling and etc. And maybe it's an existing factory or something. They can modify it. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna open it up for others to join in right now into this conversation. A few kind of points that I wanted to kind of bring up. One is, I think there's a disconnect right now where people don't fully believe Elon and Tesla regarding their targets and their guidance. And the reason being is because the Model X has been extremely delayed. It's been a terrible rollout. And I've mentioned this, many times on my posts on Tesla Motors Club. And it's brought up some credibility issues right now for Tesla and Elon. And so when Elon is mentioning 500,000 vehicles in 2018, the typical response from investors and analysts and everyone is basically, really? Like, why couldn't you build the X easier? Why couldn't you roll it out faster? If you can't build the X, right, then how are you going to build hundreds of thousands of Model 3? And Elon basically countered, and he basically said, hey, they're totally different, animals. The Model X was separate, different animal than the Model 3. And I believe him. And the reason is I don't think Model X was a super high priority in Tesla's kind of, bigger picture. I think if you look at, Model 3, they're saying that they have almost everything fully designed. It's clear that the Model 3 has been the top priority for the past year, at least, in Tesla's existence. And so all throughout this Model X ramp, you have a situation where the Model X wasn't its top priority. The Model 3 was. And so you have a lot of attention and everything diverted to Model 3. And Model X is kind of suffering. I mean, of course, there shouldn't be excuses. The Model X should have ramped up better, especially communication. And I think the quality issues, to me, are inexcusable for a company that's as old as Tesla and as big as Tesla. And but it is true, I believe, Elon, that the Model 3 this is what Tesla has been designed for. It's basically Tesla's moment, the Model 3. And this is what Tesla's been focused on for the past year or longer. The Model X was not a big priority, and that's probably one of the reasons why it didn't have a great rollout. But Elon is basically saying this is a different story. The 3 is designed to be easily manufactured. Yeah, we're not dropping the ball on this product. That's basically Elon's message. And I think a lot of people have still yet to fully grasp and believe Elon when he says that. And I think part of it is these targets that seem like beyond possible or beyond what's realistic. 500,000 in 2018. I think that kind of makes it even more difficult for some people to believe. Now, I think there's going to be a turning point, and a turning point is going to come when it becomes inevitable that Tesla is going to reach certain goals, that are super high. And, that could come when Tesla raises a bunch of money and people start thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. It could come later when Tesla releases, the first production vehicles, maybe in spring 2017, and they're just completely awesome. And and they do their part 2 announcement, and you have 1 million reservations, and people start thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. I don't know when the transition point is going to happen, but I think there's going to be a transition point where the disbelief, the unbelief will probably gradually turn to belief as Tesla executes. And I think, with the investor section, we're all talking about stock price. It's always hard to predict stock price, but I think we're going to see this, stock price will reflect the investors' type of mood and sentiment and belief regarding Tesla's ability to execute. And so, yeah, I mean, it could happen very soon. It could be a while. I think Tesla's capital raise is going to be very good for Tesla because it's going to fill Tesla's kind of coffins, and it's going to give them a cash cushion, and it's going to add credibility regarding Tesla's ability to execute and to basically accomplish their 500,000 vehicles in 2018. And so I'm looking forward to a cash raise. Elon mentioned part debt, part equity. My guess is within a few weeks, and I think yeah, it's going to be good for the company, and I think they're going to use the money very well, and we're going to see Model 3 production ramped up significantly. And so it's just exciting times for Tesla right now. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. If you're wanting to join the Hangout, yeah, I'm not sure if I have the right setup here to for people to join in right now. So I'm going to take a quick break here, and if you guys can, yeah, if you guys can let me know. Can someone try to join in this Hangout in the video, and let me know if you're able to. I'm not sure how people are able to do it on your end, but you can try. If not, I'm just going to share a few more thoughts, and then if no one's able to come in, maybe some people can ask some questions on the chat function as well. Yeah. So yeah, a couple other things I think we should probably be thinking about regarding this earnings report. Yeah, actually, let me go to the Google Hangout page and see if we have any people here trying to get on. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah, I don't think we have any people trying to get on. If you do want to get on, please go ahead and just go ahead and use the chat function or ask a question, and I'll know that at least you're trying to get on. Yeah, overall, I think the overall earnings was, I think, historically significant earnings. I'm very bullish. I'm very enthused about Tesla. One of the things I've been talking about was a transition where Tesla becomes a Tesla 2.0 or Tesla 3.0 company. And what that means is Tesla 1.0 is kind of like the image of Tesla as kind of like a smaller manufacturer, kind of like a Honda type of company, Audi or BMW. Tesla 2.0 is this concept where Tesla transitions into a real mass market like company, you know, kind of like you know, like a GM, or I don't want to say a GM, but like maybe like a VW, you know, maybe like a Toyota, etc. Kind of like one of these very large companies that sells millions, you know, maybe 5 to 10 million cars a year. And Tesla 3.0 is something else that I've talked about, which is Tesla transitioning into even beyond that. And that's basically Tesla becoming the largest, you know, car manufacturer with the greatest profits. And that's something I don't think people have really talked about much. But I think right now we're witnessing a transition from Tesla 1.0 to Tesla 2.0. And Tesla is now showing people that they can actually make 5 to 10 million cars by, let's say, 2030 or so. And they can become one of the top auto manufacturers. And part of the difficult part is this transition where they're gonna have to spend a ton of money, raise a ton of money, and they're gonna have to go through lots of growing pains. And, you know, like for example, the Model X, the stock's gonna go through lots of ups and downs, and that's what's happening right now. But I think there's periods where the belief starts to catch up and people start to say, oh my gosh, this is happening. You know, Tesla's going to become one of the dominant auto players. And I think this is one of those moments where if Tesla continues to execute with the Model 3, then they can basically prove to people that, hey, we're going to become one of the dominant players within 10 years, you know? And yeah, already like Elon Musk has talked about this 50% per year growth figure. And if you track it out, if they're going to do 500,000 cars in, you know, 2018, they're basically exponentially, you know, increasing their growth within 2 years. And then after that, he talked about 50% higher. if you do the math, Tesla will become probably the largest manufacturer before 2030. And as long as they're able to keep their margins high, then you're looking at probably, Tesla eating, 90% of the auto margins or the auto profit basically in the industry. Similar to what Apple has done with the iPhone. Although I think the car business and the transport industry is going to be larger than Apple's smartphone industry. So I think that's what we're witnessing. Lots of interesting things are going to happen, I think, over the next few quarters. My personal take is, there's going to be lots of naysayers who talk about cash flow and how Tesla's losing money and all this stuff, and where is this money going to? Can they sell cars for a profit? Can they even make the Model 3? But I think the important thing is that it doesn't matter anymore. Like, cash flow doesn't matter per se, because as long as they have money to invest in the Model 3, and as long as they can make the Model 3 profitably with comfortable margin. And Elon kind of, skirted the question because I think he knows he could eventually, hit a 20% or higher, a gross margin target for the Model 3. He just doesn't want to, say it too prematurely. But as long as Tesla is able to deliver the Model 3, let's say, $1 million a year, and then they're going to have the Model Y, which is probably the crossover version of the Model 3. And, that's going to provide them with so much working capital and so much potential for growth. And then you have their future vehicles, the truck, you have a Gen 4. There's a whole other sector that I haven't talked about yet. I'm kind of preparing to write some stuff on it, but it's the whole commercial trucking industry. The commercial trucking industry is actually about 5% of the GDP of the US alone. And it's completely ripe for disruption. I think Tesla, with their combination of autonomous driving, and battery technology, battery swap stations, etc., they can deliver a revolutionary type of experience for the trucking industry, where they can actually have electric battery trucks with battery swap stations across the country and other countries that pick up items from the port and deliver them to major hubs around the country, autonomously driving them and swapping them out at battery stations. And you have this whole nother company called, I think, Tesla Logistics. And Tesla Logistics, in my opinion, it has probably as much potential as actually Tesla Motors does, and Tesla Energy, because the commercial truck industry is such a huge part of the economy. Again, 5% of our GDP. If Tesla is able to branch off, you basically have a third company worth hundreds of billions of dollars eventually. So you have Tesla Motors, they're the car company. If they become as big as like Toyota or bigger, and they have better gross margins, their market cap is going to be in the hundreds of billions of dollars. I wouldn't be surprised, 400 or 500 billion just off of their Tesla Motors. And then you have the Tesla Energy section. That's kind of like the second part of Tesla. And Tesla Energy, again, it has massive potential, especially with energy moving to sustainable energy, not just production, but storage. And Tesla's in the forefront of that, and I think that's another massive company. And another massive company is Tesla Logistics. And we haven't talked about this Tesla Logistics much, but yeah, I don't think there's any other company that is in the leadership position to be able to disrupt the commercial trucking industry like Tesla. And again, I think that's hundreds of billions of dollars of market cap that Tesla can gain. Logistics could also move into more urban areas too. Like many people consider Uber as kind of urban logistics, and people, some people are saying, oh, you don't think of Uber as like transporting people per se in cities, but rather Uber is setting up a whole logistics type of network and framework where they can transport basically anything, anything to anywhere, in the city. And that's kind of like, the potential of of Uber. But I think Tesla also has that potential, you know, and it might be a little bit from a different perspective if they can start with trucking and then go into the cities. But with autonomous driving, you know, maybe cities is ripe for Tesla's disruption as well. And so you have, you know, with logistics, you have a battle between Uber and Tesla, I think potentially coming up. To me, Tesla has a clear advantage with logistics, especially the commercial trucking industry, if they're able to get into that. And so when you take a step back into the bigger picture of Tesla and why, you know, I think Tesla is one of the best growth companies out there, is you have these three huge industries, you know, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars that are ready to be, you know, disrupted. And already Tesla's doing it with the Tesla Motors. And you've got, you know, Model 3, Model Y, you got the truck, you got Gen 4, you got many other types of vehicles coming for Tesla. And if they're going in the right track, you know, they're going to probably suck up a lot of the profit in the whole auto industry. You have Tesla Energy, and then I think you have Tesla Logistics. I think there are probably, you know, some other areas Tesla can get into, but one of the key parts and one of the difficult parts for growth companies is how do you continue to find huge markets to sustain your growth? I think, like, for example, you know, with Google and Apple, like, and other companies, like, that's the big question. Like, what is the next 100 billion, 200 billion, you know, $300 billion market, or they think they can get into that can really add value to their company? And one of the problems is there just isn't a ton of, you know, like 300, 400, $500 billion or $1 trillion markets out there. Meaning it's easy to get into a market that's like, you know, $100 million or $1 billion. And there could be even new markets like that. But it's difficult to find a market that's huge. But the opportunity for massive growth comes when you establish a dominant position in a massive market, right? And especially, you know, when the market has been disjointed, like a commercial truck industry, it's like completely disjointed with tons of, you know, players in that market. But it's like when Tesla's able to, or a company is able to, you know, get into a market and completely disrupt it, you know, and it's like, you know, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. That's kind of like one of the sexiest investing opportunities you can find. And so if Tesla was just one of these companies, like Tesla Motors or Tesla Energy or Tesla Logistics, that would be a fantastic investment, I think, over the long term. I think with Tesla, you've got this interesting opportunity where you have three companies, at least the logistics one, I'm kind of, you know, hypothesizing right now, and we'll see in a few years. Like, you might be surprised at what Tesla announces, but you got three companies in one right now, you know, and I don't think people understand. And there's a lot of doubt around Tesla, you know, whether Tesla can do anything right now. But the markets that they're in right now, they're so massive, and right now they have, you know, a dominant established position in those markets that, you know, there's potential. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, and there's always risk regarding, you know, investments in high growth companies. But what I'm saying is there's the potential for Tesla to become the largest market cap company in the world, especially when you combine Tesla Motors, Tesla Energy, and Tesla Logistics. You're looking at, you know, by 2025, you know, it could be over $1 trillion, you know, if they do well by 2030, you know, over $1 trillion in market cap, probably the largest company in the world. And yeah, it's there's not many companies that have that type of potential that are in those type of massive markets. I think that's one of the unique opportunities that Tesla provides. I mean, there are definitely risk factors, you know, like Tesla does have execution issues. They seem to operate, you know, sometimes loosely. You know, for example, with the X launch, Elon Musk has mentioned that he's committed to until volume production of the Model 3 to be CEO of Tesla. And so if you think about it, volume production is just like, what, a year and a half away, he's saying, by end of, you know, 2017. So Elon is now committed at Tesla as CEO only until the end of 2017. So that's a short period. And so it could be very soon where Elon says, hey, I'm stepping down. as CEO, that could, have some impact on Tesla. Although, as long as Elon is okay health-wise, I think he's not going to step out of Tesla completely. He'll probably take, like a chief product officer role and really try to, and he's the chairman, the largest shareholder. So he'll try to still drive the vision and the direction of Tesla. And I think that's actually Elon's biggest and most crucial type of skill and ability that Tesla still needs. It needs someone to kind of direct Tesla into the big opportunities and push them forward. I think Elon's secondary, ability and skill is envisioning and seeing a product to fruition that people will love, And I think as long as he could provide those two roles, direct the company in the right direction into the biggest markets, and also make sure that their products are awesome. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to do the day-to-day things, like put out, different problems and fires and different, things that a CEO has to deal with every single day, like hiring people and all this stuff. I think it actually might be good for Tesla, if Elon was to step out, provide direction as a chairman, chief shareholder, and also be a chief product officer. I think it could actually be beneficial for Tesla. So yeah, overall, when I look at Tesla's bigger picture, I think Tesla's looking very good with Tesla Motors right now with Model 3. There's going to be ups and downs, and I actually recommend people to take more of a long-term approach. To guess all the short-term up and down movements, it's extremely difficult. I think I suggest investors to do some valuation on kind of like what you think Tesla will be in 2 years, 5 years, whatever your time frame is, and see what the risks are, and come up with some type of like point where you're happy to be in the stock, and to hold on to it. I think there are definitely recession risks within the next few years, and I think that could really hit Tesla stock immensely. And so I think you have to be cognizant of all of that. But you've got an amazing opportunity. I think Tesla Energy has been kind of late to the show, but I think next year or so we're looking at some fast ramping up, and I think we might be surprised at the numbers that Tesla Energy gives. So anyways, those are some kind of background thoughts on kind of why this quarter's earnings was important, because it reaffirms the bigger investment thesis that Tesla is on track to become one of the most dominant, companies in the world. And yeah, it just shows that they're on track. They have the ambition. They have like a tangible goal that they're trying to get 500,000 vehicles by 2018, more than most anyone expected. And it just shows that, that Tesla is kind of on track to realizing their potential. And I think that's what this earnings was all about, showing that to people. I think most people aren't going to believe, what Tesla says right now or Elon says, because it's more like, show me, the numbers, show me the actual cars you built before I'll, believe you and stuff. And I think that's okay, And personally, I don't think inflated stock price right now is the greatest thing for investors. I think it just tempts people to leave the stock, etc. I think some of that doubt is healthy, and it kind of provides a balance where the stock won't just shoot up like a ton, but it could be more of a gradual approach. Even though the stock market by nature is just so extreme, with this pessimism and optimism. And so you're going to have the natural ups and downs. But overall, I'm not too concerned that people don't necessarily believe everything about Tesla. I think people who have owned a Model S, or who are owners of Model S and Model X, they have an advantage because they understand the disruptive nature of Tesla's vehicles, and that gives them confidence to understand how disruptive the Model 3 is going to be. And they understand that people are just going to love this car, and people are going to buy it like crazy if it meets the $35,000 price target. And so I think it's one of those special opportunities where the playing field is more level while investing with Tesla, because the product is out in the open. It's not like a secret product or enterprise product where only certain companies know about it. It's a general product that is out in the hands of people, right? And a Model S X owner can know, or should know actually, more about Tesla than a typical analyst, or hedge fund director or something, because they're driving the car every day and they understand the nuances of the technology, and they understand the company, not just from a theoretical point of view, but from like a realistic / lived in, point of view. They've met the service center, rep and the manager and the sales, the delivery specialist, and they understand Tesla on a deeper level. And I think that's it just gives an open playing field. And so that's why I think even though the stock price might not reflect completely like the targets of Model 3, because people don't believe it, I don't think that necessarily should be a discouragement to people, because a lot of people who are doubters and who aren't believing in Model 3 and what Tesla can do, they're not necessarily like understanding Tesla, their vehicles, the company, as well as a lot of Model S and X owners and Roadster owners as well. And so I think in some ways that's an advantage. I think it's just, important that, and this is my kind of leaning, that people get in at a price they're comfortable with, and they're able to ride out the ups and downs. And so for me personally, I'm very satisfied with just getting in early and kind of, riding out the waves, because Tesla is showing themselves to be on track to being one of the most dominant, largest market cap companies in the world. And today's earnings call was just more evidence of that. All right, I've rambled on for enough. I think I'm gonna go ahead and either wrap this call up if there's, I think actually someone was texting me. They tried to get in the call, but they weren't able to get in the call. I guess for some reason, maybe I didn't enable the right settings for people to join in the call. Let me actually do one more thing here. Yeah, I think maybe I didn't invite the right people when I set up the call. So anyways, my apologies. I think I didn't set up the call right. So anyways, I'm just gonna wrap up this call right now. If you have any questions or if you want to just discuss things, feel free to chat, post on Tesla Motors Club. I have a thread there, Dave T mega posts or articles, something like that, or you can post on the Hangouts thread or the short-term thread. It's all at teslamotorsclub.com, and we can carry on discussion right there. Too bad, I wish we could have had more interaction. I think it was my bad that I wasn't able to figure out how to invite people on this call. So yeah, try one more thing here. Yeah, it's not working. I'm just gonna wrap up here. But thanks again for hanging out, and we'll talk later. We'll see you. Bye.